also the minority leader in parliament on the side of the MPP. He spoke with the press on happenings in the party regarding the presidential primaries. It's 6 minutes after 8. Listen to him.
We have also received the withdrawal letter officially by Honorable Kyerematen, and the party has accepted the withdrawal without prejudice. At this point, we as a committee would like to again remind all party members that this is an internal contest. There is no loser, there is no winner. We need to put our house in order to face the NDC come 2024. So we would urge party members to help their own party by way of their conduct. So far, those who have concerns have brought the concerns to us. Mr. Kyerematen, for the time being, hasn't said he's not a member of the party. He hasn't said so. So now that we've received his withdrawal letter, we will now wait for him to bring us some additional information, if he so desire, to furnish us with additional information regarding some of the concerns that he has raised. So we are waiting.
Would you request for that? Would he be replaced? Because you need 5.
No, the Constitution hasn't said so. If somebody...
Just for purpose of clarity here.
Some decisions going to November.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
What is it?
I didn't say that. You pay attention to me. You are.
Alan Kyerematen.
What I said was that.
And that was Alexander Kyerematen. He is the spokesperson for the presidential primaries committee of the New Patriotic Party as we speak. And we want to touch base with the spokespersons for the various campaigns, particularly the Alan campaign. We want to hear and know the inside story. Why did Alan Kyerematen pull out? He has written a long paper to us. But really, what is the inside story? There are conversations as to whether Alan should run as an independent candidate or not. There's also a theory that, well, what if Alan teams up with Kennedy Japan to go on an independent ticket? And in that tape, you heard Mr. Kyerematen talk about the fact that it's an internal contest and that, do everything they can to protect the party because the contest is without, not within, and it's without to go and face the NDC. Mr. Ben Efson is the editor of the Daily Dispatch. He's also a pollster. Listen to him.
Thank you very much, and good evening to our viewers. Yes, I'm good.
Now, the first question is because you got it right. It's undisputed. I don't know how you did it, but
the November 4th, the work I had been doing, I started last year around March. And by last year, March, I knew Kennedy Japan would be competing. And precisely on June 22nd, 2022, I said that Kennedy Japan could push Alan Kyerematen to 3rd place. And by 4 months ago, I was firm in my mind that the top 3 would be Baumia, Kennedy Japan, and Alan Kyerematen. One of the main reasons that I found out, and if Alan had contested November 4th, the gap would have been wider. You see, Alan Kyerematen peaked 15 years ago as Alan Cash, that was the nickname, when he contested Akufo-Addo. Moving on, in the last 15 years, any delegate who is about 30, 35, let's say 30 years now, was 15 years when Alan Kyerematen peaked. Mind you, Canada Japan has been a member of parliament. This is his 23rd year as a member of parliament. And he's been going around most of the congresses, seeing to them. Yes, Bawumia is not a member of parliament, but you can see that Bawumia had virtually been behaving like a member of parliament over the last 6 years, going to funerals, weddings, and so on. So getting into this, I was in no doubt that that will be the order.
Now, that sounds very...
Now, those are excerpts of the conversation with Mr. Ben Epstein there. He is a pollster as well. Let's connect with Dr. Prince Amuzu. He speaks for the Dr. Afriyie Akoto campaign team. Doc, thank you very much for your time. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning and greetings to your cherished listeners.
How is Dr. Akoto faring in terms of the campaigns? Is he lacing his boot for November 4?
Very well. Dr. Afriyie Akoto is very much happy with what has happened, that he has the opportunity to contest the November 4th election and is very much preparing and re-strategizing. Definitely, he has to review what has happened on 26th, I guess, and change strategy because this is a bigger number compared to the 26th, I guess, one.
Right.
This one-on-one business will not be really a good thing to do at this point.
Now, you speak of a change in strategy. The strategy that you adopted prior to the first round, if I like to call it that way, to trim the number down from 10 to 5, got you the 4th place. You said you were going to be part of the top 3. Now you are part of the top 4. Does that not worry you?
Not at all. If you look at what happened 26, the strategy we adopted was non-confrontational. We didn't insult anybody. We didn't attack anybody. We didn't have any beef with anybody. We were just busy doing messaging. And we were doing it one-on-one with the people. But if you watch what happened that day, many of the people that would have voted for us were literally intimidated. And, some of them were almost forced because all the things that we set out in the regulation, that there shouldn't be campaign, voting should be secret, all these things we were saying were actually from the same people. That when they get the information, if it is like this, things will be difficult because they cannot disrespect their leadership. And that is how come things are. But I'm saying that the campaign is happy with what has happened because even in the face of all of that, people still thought that, look, let's make sure Dr. Akoto is in this 4th November race. And we are grateful for that opportunity.
Now, so far, the engagements and the processes from the party's perspective and your campaign team's perspective, have they been smooth in terms of your analysis?
Yes, we are looking at the matters arising because there has to be a review. And I can commend the Presidential Elections Committee at this point. They have always been very open to ideas. Most of the ideas that we have sent quietly, they have contemplated it. Those of them that they think was practical, they put in place. And so we have reviewed what has happened. We are still engaging with the committee, and we are very hopeful that there will be a few changes here and there to put strength to the guidelines so that people can vote really by themselves. They can really choose the person they want, and they will not be under any stress or any pressure to do otherwise.
And you know by now that Mr. Alan Kyerematen has pulled out of the race. There are concerns about the repercussions that could have for the party. You listen to Alexander Kwame, who speaks for the committee, who suggests that you need to come together because the enemy, or if you like, the contender is the NDC and not within. How does that affect the ongoing process for you first as spokesperson for Dr. Afriyie Akoto and then the party, in your own view?
Yes, the contest was, if you like, a home match. These are all MPP people, very strong 10 personalities in our party. set out to contest so that we get the best person to lead all of us. After 4th of November, it is expected that all 10 come together and wage a strong campaign against the NDC so that we're able to break the eight, which has not happened before in our country. So if anybody falls off, it's worrisome because all these talents and all these ideas that were brought up, these are ideas that will constitute a campaign manifesto for the NPP because this is how we harness ideas. So it is not expected that we are unable to manage the interest and the essence of the processes. But I'm hopeful with the leadership of Chairman Stephen Tim and Lawyer Kodua and then the committee, Professor Michael Quay, very strong leader, Democrat. I'm sure they're able to negotiate these things through and make sure that we stick together.
Now, is your candidate confident of being the one to be chosen to wave the flag on behalf of the MPP going into the 2024 elections?
Absolutely, absolutely. And much so because if you get to know, it is the people at the polling station that were the ones that crafted the messages for about setting up companies in all constituencies so that it can create jobs for the teeming youth, so that the profits of these constituency companies will not be used to run the party at that level because they are the ones who were complaining. I've not got anything. I've not got jobs. They were the ones complaining, and he had their solution, to the problems that they're confronting the constituency. So this is the biggest opportunity to become the flag bearer because the ones he has crossed this level, because this level, most of them are in Accra and big cities, and they are the big people. If you're talking about agriculture and farming and the benefits here and there, they look at it some way. But the people at the constituency and police station, wow, they are the biggest beneficiary of the messaging and the ideas of Honorable Dr. also Efri Akoto.
Now, what does Dr. Efri Akoto bring to the table in terms of credentials? We know his academic credentials, but people have often fingered him as being a failure, particularly on the back of plentiful food and jobs, that food is still expensive, we still import a lot of food and all of that. What does he bring to the table to be able to rival Kennedy Japan, who says, I am a big businessman, I've employed so and so number of people, I've invested in the party, Dr. Baumia, who is now being called Mr. Digital with a strategy. What does your candidate bring?
You see, facts are real, and the facts of statistics and evidence says otherwise, because 8.4% growth rate in the agricultural sector, this is the first time in the Fourth Republic. This is the first time in the Fourth Republic that there has even been an agri census to tell how many farmers are there working there. This is the first time there's been employment of over 3,000 agri extension officers. This is the very first time that you're going to have all the major irrigation sites, worked out, more than 10 warehouses. This is the very first time that a crop development authority has been established in this country. And you saw how World Bank had to put $200 million to the Tree Crop Development Authority. This is the very first time that somebody has sat down to put together calculations and policy ideas and say, look, if we focus on agriculture, we're able to raise enough funding to run our economy. And the Tree Crop Development Authority alone is going to give up to $12 billion annually. He has these ideas for grain development, for horticulture development, for poultry development, and agro credit and mechanization. This is the very first time. These things I've just said in a very short time. And we say the same of the other contenders. Most of them have no vision, no message. So if you look at them critically, it's more of attacks and innuendos and all that. But this is a man that sounds very tall when it talks of loyalty to party. When MPP was being formed, talk of his father's role, we'll leave that one there. But before 1992, the Dankwa Club, England and Ireland, he was the founding secretary. His secretary, J.H. Mensah, as chairman. He had played his role in this party till now. If you talk about employment, private employment, one of the biggest private employer of the Ghanaian population is Dr. Uji Fiakoto. But listen, he's not a type that is noisy, that is going to say, I've done this, I've done that, I've employed people. If you talk about agriculture and the farms he has and the businesses he has in that sector employs much more than you can imagine. If I even have a poultry farm, I will employ more than somebody that has a cold store. How many human beings will run a cold store, for example? How many? And how does that to the economy of our country when you're importing, chicken products, poultry products, and for storage and that kind of thing? We're talking about production, the productive sector of our economy. And he has the track record. Check all these people. Where is that track record? None. Oh, I'm not Christian, so vote for me. Oh, I'm from voter region, vote for me. Oh, I'm businessman, vote for me. No message, no track record, no loyalty, nothing. This is the man that stands very tall in our time. And it's my prayer and the prayer of many delegates in the rural areas that this man be given the opportunity to bring real solutions to our party and real solutions to our country, Ghana.
I see. So even the vice president doesn't match up to Dr. Koto, if I hear you right. Is that correct?
Not in any way. Not in any way. You can tell it from the record. Not in any way at all. I respect all the 10 aspirants. I respect this 4 that is left. All of them are great men. But when we are talking about comparative analysis of the fact, of loyalty, of track record, and of vision, no man.
Dr. Musa, thank you very much indeed for your time. We're grateful.
We are grateful for the great work you're doing for Ghana. God bless.
Thank you. Bless you too. Hello.
Come on. Come on, dig it, okay, shake it, dig it, okay, dig it, come on. I love this song.
You know, the politicians have songs, eh? If you are sent on an assignment, you may just forget yourself and start dancing and say,
No, the songs are very catchy.
Oh my God.
But if I heard Doc right, he says he will put Dr. Ifria Koto miles ahead of the vice president based on his track record. Yeah. I don't know whether that will go down palatably with the rest of the populace. Especially, here on the Sunrise Show, we've had calls to dissect some of the policies, some of his ideology, some of the answers he's given us in the past. I'm not sure that we have that same assertion, but he knows why he's saying that, and by all means. But of course, the bigger issue is what's going on with the New Patriotic Party, and it's something that we should all definitely be concerned with. I know that they've postponed balloting until some of the issues that have been raised by the various candidates are looked at. And at this point, we're hearing so many different views, opposing views, a dissection of the issues, the state of affairs as concerned. Mr. Kyerematen seems to be hanging in the balance. We're all holding our breath, waiting to hear what he's going to say about his future in politics.
Whether he wants to run independent or partner with somebody, or just stay put.
Yeah, and we ran a poll, or there was a poll run on our Media General platforms, TV3 in particular, where we asked, well, would you vote for Mr. Kyerematen if he went independent? And an overwhelming majority said that they would, although the comments that followed seemed to suggest that would not really be the best thing for him. They don't think that he would actually win. Okay. But those are the views.
Dr. Nyauta Maklo thinks that he should go and test his popularity by going independent. I don't know if he will take that bait.
I don't know.
Advice. Well, but
I don't know, especially because yesterday when we were looking at the track record, the com style, and maybe even the campaign style of the different candidates. We talked about Kennedy Japong seeming to have that edge because of, I guess, his energy, that connection with the youth, and that is something that maybe Mr. Kyerematen could also adopt. His temperament is completely different, but that seems to be the order of the day, connecting energetically with the youth. Right. The youth want to know that you are there with them. Maybe he laid back because he was counting or banking on the tradition.
That's how he is.
Yes.
I mean, he doesn't speak. He has a calm disposition. It's more like you don't expect a Kennedy in him.
No.
Or Dr. Baumia, when he sees a microphone, he gets excited. He says a lot of. You don't expect that from him.
Maybe in the rain with your shoe, your fugu, no umbrella with your fugu.
No.
Maybe some of that extra, some of the razzmatazz that comes along with politics.
You're talking about a businessman, a mogul who's created a brand like Empretech helped a lot of businesses to engineer to be successful. You're talking about somebody who has built it. He's not a buga person.
Maybe if I were part of the team, I'd be looking at certain strategies to bring that message to the younger crowd.
In terms of age, I think he's older than all of them.
He turns 68 October 3rd. He'll be 68.
So him, he's the oldest. Then Dr. Efri Akuto will come, and then you can have Vice President, and then Kennedy Japan.
That's right.
So in that order, you don't expect an old man to be jumping around like that. He won't do it.
I don't know whether that.
I'm not sure his children and his wife would encourage him. Or from our ending.
That's true. Maybe another strategy that will inure to his particular temperament that can still build a connection for, I guess, the younger folk who want to know him, want to know about his legacy, his place in the party. Maybe that was something that could have helped him. In the campaign.
What? Let's. There's a notice here that we're just. William, I'll come back to you. We'll have a thing on it. But Janet, let's call Dr. Adam Bona quickly, and it is a restricted message dated yesterday, 2023, and it says the 6th of September 2023 is from the Director General Police Administration. Well, let's call Adam Bona, please, and then get this done quickly. PSO 1781/39 interdiction. Kindly be informed that you are interdicted with immediate effect following your involvement in the leak tape being investigated by Parliament. You are to hand over your weapon, uniform, and other police accoutrements and or properties, including your authority badge, to the depot logistics. You are also to hand over the command vehicle to transport. Regards. Originator's signature is there, signed by Christian Tete Yohonu, COP. In charge of Director General in charge of administration. So Alex Spencer, he has been interdicted.
Yes, that was on the front page of the Business Analyst this morning. It says, stop the press. IGP interdicts COP Alex Mensah over leak tape despite ongoing parliamentary probe.
So it is not the IGP who did the interdiction. It's the Police Management Board. I think the Police Council as well. They did that because the IGP is conflicted in the matter. It has been mentioned. Alaji, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning.
How is Mr. Alan Kyerematen doing?
Well, he's doing well.
Why did Mr. Alan Kyerematen decide to pull out at this time?
Well, actually, Alan Kyerematen is a human being, and sometimes we treat somebody wrongly, and he will not be happy with your treatment. Hence, he decided to opt out. Yeah.
Was he pained by any of the processes, or was he disappointed in himself for not being able to come top on that 26th elections that was
looking at not being able to come top? He was top because the party was looking for 5 candidates, and he was third. So that one is not a problem. The problem was the process. I mean, the process of that particular elections. All the guidelines were not, taken in consideration. It was just a hearsay. They will tell you that we have a guideline, nobody should vote and show it out. Nobody should there shouldn't be any intimidation. But all over the country, we realized that the guidelines didn't work.
Now, Dr. Yahonya Otamaklo, a foundation member of the NPP, says that Mr. Kyerematen should go and test his popularity by going independent. Is that a good advice that Alan would take?
Well, actually, for going independent is something that is still not, and I hope Alan will not come out to go independent. He made it categorically on his, statement that soon he will come out to redefine his political stance in Ghana politics. So we are all waiting patiently to see what is going to happen. But for the independent, I don't think so.
Would he collaborate with Mr. Kennedy Japan, for example, to run as independent candidate, given the fact that they both were not happy with the processes?
In fact, what I know is that what is happening if we are not careful, and I mentioned it to one of the sister stations some time ago, But the way things are going, by the history of our party in 1979, a lot of things happened and the party broke away. And if care is not taken, I mean, the history will repeat itself. We'll see a party coming out from MPP. So this is what I am suspecting. But to go independent, I don't think so.
There's a quote here I have from the late B.J. Darocha from 2008.
Okay.
He says, my advice to him was that he should rescind his decision to resign unconditionally, and thereafter, whatever his concerns were could be addressed. He said, while he respected my opinion and advice, he could not agree with me. I indicated that in the middle of an election campaign, the party could not find time literally to arbitrate what he saw as a dispute between him and the party. I suggested to him that many within the party would interpret his actions as lack of loyalty and commitment to the party. His response was that if anybody thought so, so be it. B.J. Darocha. Is this the history you're talking about, repeating itself?
Actually, I'm talking about 1979, what happens between the PFP and then the UNC. And I'm saying that if care is not taken, such things can happen. But what we have just mentioned, I mean, the richest time in 2007, we all saw what Alan Kyerematen, exhibited. I mean, he really shows that he's a loyal member of the party and a foundation member of the party by not allowing the party to go to second round and then declared for his senior brother, His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. But upon all that, in 2008, a whole lot of things were happening to his followers. Beating people here and there, threatening people here and there, and that prompted that decision of he attempting to resign. But in fact, the party didn't accept his resignation, and I mean, a whole lot of advices came, and then he accepted it. But upon all that, all what was happening to him in 2008, they didn't stop. They continue it, and we can look at the outcome of every internal elections that we go. Intimidations and other things, they didn't stop up to now. Why? That is the problem. The man didn't do anything wrong. The man has helped the party. He has built the party. He's a foundation member of the party. He was the chairman of the Young Executive Forum. And we all know what the Young Executive Forum did for MPP. Establishing the party to become, a frontline party in Ghana. So the man is not treated well. Since from 2007 to date.
But this would not be the first time Mr. Alan Kyerematen is stepping aside. If he continues doing that, don't you think it will affect his image and longevity?
He has never stepped aside as far as elections, internal elections is concerned.
He was not present in 2012 to do the campaign effectively as he did in 2016 for the NPP, correct?
It is not true. He was there, but people felt that they were not seeing him, like the way they used to see him.
But if he was there and people didn't see him, then he wasn't there.
Don't forget that he's a businessman. So definitely he may be catch up with other things. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't part of 2012. People told us that when we were going for court, Alan Kyerematen was not there. We shot videos that he was present in the court. So they should stop those things. You see, the fact is that the man has been treated unfairly as far as this party is concerned.
I see. Well, we'll wait for his final decision. But will he throw his weight behind Dr. Bawumia, for example, in the interest of the party?
He's a human being, and we are waiting to see what is going to come out. But we, the supporters of Alan Kyerematen, we are waiting patiently to see what is going to come out. He told us that he will redefine his political stand as far as this country is concerned. So let's all wait patiently and see what the pregnant night will give birth to.
You sound very very confident that he will make a bold decision, but we know what happened to the CPP when Dr. Indum decided to leave to go and form the PPP. Is that going to happen? Will Alan form his own political party?
I don't get it. Come again.
Will Alan form his own political party? Pakwesi Indum left the CPP to form the PPP. Will Alan toe that line? That's my final question to you.
That is why I said the night is pregnant. And let's wait patiently and see what the pregnant night will give birth to. Alan forming his own party or a new party coming out from MPP, I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised, even if I am in his shoes. Something can happen that way, and we are all in this country, and nobody has the right to tell you that you can form a party or a new party cannot form up from MPP or NDC. We saw Gusitono, or what's the name? He came out from the MPP, right. And formed a party. So this one is not a crime. But I am saying that we are waiting to see what is going to happen, because the man has given a bold statement that he will come out soon to redefine his political stand in Ghana politics. So let's wait and see what is going to happen.
I see. Well, not just Gusitano, there's also Dr. Reku Brobe, who left the MPP to form his own party. Yes. So Pakwesi Ndum also going to form the PPP and all that. But Alhaji Abdul Kyerematen, thank you very much for your time. We're grateful.
Thank you very much, my brother, for speaking to me.
Great. Now, I just read for you something from the Ghana Police Service. Yesterday, I understand that a high-level meeting happened and COP Alex Mensah has been interdicted. He's been directed to surrender all his accoutrements and his official vehicle and to the appropriate quarters. Dr. Adam Bona is a security analyst. He joins us on the phone line. When we spoke with him yesterday or the day before on my birthday, he mentioned that the two gentlemen should have been interdicted a long time ago. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Johnny.
The interdiction has happened. What do you say?
Well, I think better late than never. I think what you read, you have intercepted is just for COP, but Asari also has been interdicted.
Okay, right.
And so what you see is from that of COP Mensah. You read to us, yes. But I think better late than never. It's good for law and it is good for due process. Equality before the law has been re-established as far as I am concerned. For those of us who work within the security space, these are regimented organizations, and you know that once you are wearing your uniform and your badge and all those things, you can see what he has been asked to bring to surrender.
Right.
These things gives him some privileges that only few of us in this country get. He can enter almost everywhere with his phones and everything. You can't take them from him,
right? Because
of the badge and the rank and what he's supposed to represent. And so, for them to have been cited allegedly for their involvement in breach of a serious, section of their own service regulation, and to be put before a public hearing, still in uniform or still as officers, for me, was something that did not augur well for this organization. And I have had senior military officers, senior military officers send me messages to ask what is going on. How can such persons be put through this public hearing and they are still officers and they have not been interdicted? And I thought that, well, I mean, I am not, I don't work as a police officer. I'm not a government person. I don't take these decisions, but somebody should have ensured that the right thing was done before they put them through public scrutiny. So I can say that it's a good day for the law regulating how these regimented organizations work. And also, it's a good day for due process, so that one day when an officer does something and they swiftly interdict him, we can all say, well, today we are quoting everywhere. COP Agodro is interdiction. We are using it as an illustration. We are using that of this COP, what's the name? Timbila,
yes,
who was interdicted. You know the issue that happened in Kumasi, where the students demonstrated because I think a young lady has been knocked down by a vehicle. And the deputy, I think, Ashanti Regional Police Commander, you remember he was swiftly interdicted the same day. And the information is out there. I'm sure we can, if you Google, you will find it. Your network, we discussed it.
I remember that.
as far as I'm concerned, Johnny, I mean, I think that this is the right way to go. Now they should go through this process. If they are cleared, they get back all their entitlements, and then if you are not cleared, you know that the consequences that will follow. And I think it is just due process.
In fact, the police has just put out a press release, and if you may, the police service has interdicted Commissioner of Police Mr. George Alex Mensah, Superintendent Mr. Emmanuel Eric JB, and Superintendent Mr. George Lysander Asari in connection with the audio tape, which has been become a subject of matter of investigation by Parliament. The interdiction is to make way for disciplinary proceedings into their conduct in line with the police regulations signed by ACP Director of Public Affairs Grace Ansah. She has risen very quickly because I knew her as a superintendent not so long ago, but now she's an ACP. Interesting times there. So the three of them have been interdicted. Doc, do you foresee some demotion, or they've been deranked and then there are benefits for pension in terms of COP, Alex Mensah being affected because of this action?
In order not to prejudice whatever will take place, I mean, my comments should not be taken as law, or But I would say that if you are going by the police service regulation, the CI 76, I think section 17 or 80 something, one of them, I don't have it with me. Johnny, this is not a demotion matter. This is dismissal matter. And then if you now take our own, criminal Act 29, if you look at what will pass for high treason, this will pass for high treason if the Attorney General or the police is minded to put them before the civilian court. This will pass for high treason, not even treason, because any act that is alleged to want to subvert the will of the people will pass for high treason. And now I think the death penalty, we no longer have it in our statutes. I don't know whether the president has signed that into law. But if we had that in our statutes, then we know the consequences if you are pronounced guilty. In the past, if you were pronounced guilty, the judges didn't have a choice than to sentence you to death. But now, the quashing of the death penalty, from our Criminal Offences Act, you want to say that, offences like that, the maximum you get would be life imprisonment, unless otherwise you stay in there and you are pardoned, or you are released early for good behavior. But what I would say is that it's just unfortunate that they indulge themselves in a matter of, attempting to out one of their own and said all those despicable things. And when I hear people say that, you see, these people were conspiring behind doors.
Right.
The moment you are conspiring, the law is clear. Others have been dismissed, others have gone to prison for conspiring behind doors. And let's remember, conspiracy in our statutes again, anyone who wants, you can check the Criminal Offences Act. Go and check. Go and check. They are 29. If you check, it is there. It's clear. When you say conspiracy, it doesn't matter if you have committed a crime or you have not committed a crime. Conspiracy is as good as you committing the crime. And so once you have gone on to agree with others to, in attempt to commit a crime, you could be, if you are found guilty, you get the punishment as if you have done it.
Right.
That is the law.
Right.
And so as far as I'm concerned, people are looking at these things and saying that, they mentioned that administratively there is something going on in the police service. And my point is that, Johnny, it doesn't matter what you think is going on in the police service. The police service is regulated by a law. So it is not somebody, no one is allowed to act with arbitrariness. So if there was one occasion where these officers who are complaining have actually written to the Police Service Council to say, the Police Service Act section so and so has been breached. You know, COP, the interdicted COP, Alex Mensah,
right,
is a lawyer. Okay, he's a lawyer. And so my point is that he should have known this better to know that if someone is in breach of a certain act that's supposed to regulate an organization in which he works,
right,
the right thing for him to do, and you know the law is not just the law. The law will tell you what to do when a process is breached. There is usually mechanisms to seek redress. Did he, for once, do that? Once he didn't do it, then it's because this thing came out, and you would hear them usually say, when they hear it, that, oh, this was a private conversation. You see, this, and Honorable Agaga did well by reminding them, including the Honorable Atacha, that the moment it comes out in the public domain and you have been asked to come and answer to them, it means that it's easy to be a private conversation. But they still maintain. But you see, that is the beauty of the law. As far as I'm concerned, Johnny, we have interesting days ahead of us, and people are looking at this and thinking that, oh, what is going to happen? But my point is that I think anything that will an attempt to subvert the will of the people that comes out, we must look at it. Seriously. So this is what I would say.
Doc, let me ask you this. So the story is out there that it is the IGP, Dr. Dampari, who interdicted these three. The concerns are that Dr. Dampari has been mentioned in the tape and that he is the subject of interest in the leaked audio and that he is conflicted in the matter. Some also say it is the police council chaired by the vice president that took the decision. But we also do know that the vice president was mentioned in the leak tape number 2, as it was called. Now, these two conflicted persons who have the power to take this decision, would you say that they took the decision in their interest or in the interest of the country?
So they took the decision per the law.
3FM.
They took the decision per the law. You know, the Police Service Act does not mention anybody by name when it comes to IGP. It didn't say the IGP at all times must bear the name Johnny Hughes or Adam Bonner or Kufu Dampari or the police council chairman should bear the name His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. No. So the law allows them to do what they have done. And when this thing happened, you know, some of us were very discomforted because, you see, to have them go through this public hearing on, you know, still wearing their ranks and everything.
Right.
That's a serious breach of the law. Serious breach. Serious breach. But you see, the issues you raised, where the number 2, they actually disrespected the number 2, mentioned him, cited him for non-performance and all that. And actually, the IGP is the one they were plotting to remove, to help them subvert the will of the people according to them. It became then difficult. Some of us were asking that, well, it is important for the police council to be briefed. But I am told reliably that yesterday, the police council met yesterday afternoon. And I'm sure the police council were briefed. And obviously, it is not the vice president who will direct. But I think in these instances, these are purely administrative. And so the police council will recommend that, well, once they have reached, section so of CI 76, why not interdict them? Because then we cannot set a precedent that one day would consume all of us like wildfire. And so it doesn't matter if the person is conflicted or the person is in a position because his name is mentioned. It's just like, what's the name? Ajakun, Honorable Ajakun. With this, is it the PDS or one of the issues?
Ameri PDS, yes.
The president's name was mentioned. Do you remember?
Remember that? I remember.
The president's name was mentioned. But it still did not stop the president from asking him whether, I think he said he was fired. He still did not stop the president from firing him. Even though the president's name was mentioned. So as far as I'm concerned, These are purely legal and administrative matters. And so the president fired him, and nobody will cough because he's a hirer. Once he hires you, it doesn't matter if you go and gossip or you go and do something that he feels untoward. You are at his mercy. They will fire you, and the law cannot say anything because he's protected by the law. At the moment, no one, if you go to court, go and challenge your interdiction. My point is that you even will make your case worse because then what will happen is that you are going to open a can of worms. Already, you are not supposed to indulge yourself in serious political, controversies. And you have gotten yourself embroiled in the serious political controversies. But the interpretation of the law, it is the bosom of the judges. And so anybody, if they feel, you go to court and you go and challenge it. And the Police Service Act would be displayed in court. And the judges, rightly, would give an interpretation to it. And then they would bring, actually, the hearing. The answers, the yes and no, and the explanation given at the hearing would be argued in court as a matter of evidence. The audio, the leaked audio, and the other videos will also be abused in court. So this, I must tell you, is a very bad case. Or if you ask me, I will tell you that it's interesting days ahead. I mean, because if you look at it, how it's very complex, and they have implicated themselves left and right, and the hearing has come to confirm certain things. They themselves have admitted. There are some videos attached and say they've been interdicted. They have intercepted. Some of us.
In fact, we played the video on Johnny's Bite 2 days ago.
So some of us are, is it the 8 minutes or the 9 minutes video? Is that the one?
Yes, the 9 minutes video.
So some of us are hopeful that there will be more videos for us to see because we are hearing there are more videos. So we are praying that there will be more videos.
You are looking for a showdown, Doc.
Oh, you see, Johnny, I tell you what, I am happy. Now your bite has moved from Johnny's Bite to the People's Bite.
That's right.
It's moved from, you know what, Johnny, we cannot leave the country into the hands of few people to destroy the country. And I keep saying it that you leave the country into the hands of few people, they will destroy it. I watched your Bite this morning, and you have shown the airport. It was like Mokola.
That's right.
I have done a lot of travels. At no point, it's like you have evacuated. I mean, those of us who were old enough when we were repatriating our nationals from Nigeria,
right?
Maybe we saw them in trailers and whatever. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, really? This morning, it tells you that not everything is right. But you see, the onus is on all of us not to give up on this country. If you give up on this country, Johnny, nobody would accept you in this country. And so let's build our own country. And so for me, let the showdown begin. Like Kennedy will say, Honorable Kennedy Japan will say, let the showdown begin so that everybody who is an accomplice, everybody who is involved, they are dealt with according to the law. As simple as that.
Thank you. Dr. Adam Bona of the Security Warehouse, we're grateful for your time as always. Grateful. William, you have not had your bite on the Alan Kyerematen thing. Quickly do that, and then we can Dr. Freya, and then you can come to.
I've just been reading around his trajectory from the beginning. I think he has not been paying attention to data.
Oh,
he's been.
Are you angry?
He has not been paying attention to data, and he's been looking at the tradition alone. Because he came out of what was then known as the Kufuor faction. He stood against Akufo-Addo, made about 32%
Yeah.
And that has been dropping until it picked up just about a point in this 2023 election when he had about 10%. But if you look at Dr. Bawumia, this is the first time he's standing for president. And look at the percentage that he got.
Almost 70%.
And look at Mr. Kennedy Japan. This is first bite. And look at what the percentage he made. So Alan should have been paying attention to the way his popularity has been dropping. Because he's been going around this presidential thing for close to 20 years.
Yes.
And his fortunes in terms of data have not been appreciating. So then I think he should have resigned earlier and worked on that. Because I think he sat back and thought, because from the beginning, that thing came up, say, a dream is so, and the way things are good, the dynamics have changed. Social media, technology, people are talking more, and as Benefsin said this morning, at the time he was so popular.
Most of the delegates were too young to be interested in anything politics.
And he should have known the election he was going into per the conference, because a lot of the voters were elite voters who were already in government. Times are hard, people are protecting their jobs, and if they get hints that the establishment is for Mr. Baumia, why would they go against the establishment that is literally feeding them? So I think some of these dynamics did not play out. And those who advise him to go independent, I don't think it's a good advice. Because if you go independent, people will think that, look, if I vote for him, it will go waste. That's what CPP and co are suffering from. Some people will love the CPP.
Right.
But they will think, if I vote for CPP, I'll just waste it. So let me just go and vote. So it has also shrunk the floating voters' numbers. Because at the end of the day, they will vote for. Look, some of these independent candidates, when they speak, you would think that they should do well, but nobody will vote for them. And looking at his age, this morning, Helen and I were going through the numbers. If you look at his age now, 68.
68 in October.
If Dr. Baumia should win and come after 4 years, that would take him to 72. That Baumia would take a second bite. That would add another 4.
By all means.
That would take him to, 76.
Maybe he'll be 76. Chairman of the Council of State.
No, I'm talking about the aim is not chairman of any council. It's the top chief executive of the republic. So
the data is not in his favor.
I don't think he has been paying attention to the data, because look, from 32.3%, and then he came down to 19%, and then 4.7%, 4.75%, and now he has moved to 10%. Plus in this election, 10.82%. Okay. And if he watches his own idol, President Kufuor was doing well when he started. He did 16.5% in 1992. He shot up to 51.99 in 96, and 98 when he was preparing to win the election, he was at 64.6%. So
he kept rising.
So that the data was working for President Kufuor, who was you were not paying attention to your data. When it comes to Nana Kufuor, the data was working for Nana Kufuor. So I think it's a lesson for all of us.
Okay.
In anything that you're doing, because data
is key.
Is key
and king.
Yes. So I think
I agree. So
I've
been touting that angle of the connection to the youth who don't know about his political acumen, and we've seen other candidates really push hard. Their teams really push hard to make the connections. Things as simple as spaces. And you guys know I live on the internet. I live on X. I'm following the conversations all day, every day, and I think the Alan factor was really missing. I saw the likes of Honorable Kyerematen granting online interviews. The young people were hearing about his history. Maybe something from the camp of Alan could have at least brought about that connection, or at least opened him up to a new audience, which is the younger audience, to also get a feel of what he's doing. Because at the time when President Kufuor's numbers were shoring up, I think he remained that he had that prominency in our faces, coming ba 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 ba. He was constantly reminding us that he was there. But like you say, Mr. Kyerematen was sitting back, relying on loyalty and party
tradition. And I think
tradition.
the survey reports did not also help him when they indicated that for the larger Ghanaian public, he was the favorite.
That's right.
But you needed to beat these super delegates before you get to the larger public.
Anyway,
so
I hear you. Okay.
And I'm saying that I don't remember saying that. And this is what I remember saying.
Commissioner, only yesterday, what he was trying to draw your attention to was what transpired yesterday before this committee.